Hey there, math friends. Mrs. Smith here. Our I can statement for today is I can compare unit rates given tables and graphs. So today we're going to have word problems that involve unit rates, tables, and graphs. So we are bringing it all together. I've got a couple pages of notes for you, and they will be very much like your assignment, which is a different set of pages. Okay, let's get started with number 1 on this notes page. An internet company charges the same rate every month. After 3 months, you've paid $128.85. All right, so what do they want us to do? It says, create a table of values showing how much it would cost to have this internet for 4 months. Then graph the points from the table on the coordinate plane. All right, so let's fill out this table together. So here we have months under the X column, and under the Y column we have the cost. So how much does it cost to have 0 months of internet service? Well, that's going to be 0, right? It should be 0, otherwise you might need a new cable company. So now we need to figure out how much is it going to cost for 1 month. That's a little bit harder to answer. Let's go back up and read our problem again. It says they charge the same rate every month, and then after 3 months you've paid $128.85. So if 3 months cost you $128.85, how much does 1 month cost you? What operation are we going to need to do here? I think it sounds like we're going to need to divide the $128.85 by 3, right? So let's grab our calculators and do that. So I have $128.85 divided by 3 for the 3 months. And we're going to get $42.95. So let's just write that right here for 1 month. 42.95. All right, cool. So if it's $42.95 for 1 month, how much is it going to be for 2 months? It's going to be 2 times $42.95, right? So I'm going to take my $42.95 and multiply it by 2. And then I'm going to get 85.9, but I'm thinking dollars and cents, so I'm going to write 90. There we go, $85.90. How are we going to figure that out for 3 months? Well, let's take our $42.95, and this time we're going to multiply it by 3. And that's going to give us $128.85. Oh, well, that's what they told us in the beginning. That's right. I guess I could have already filled that out, couldn't I? And now let's go back to our $42.95 and multiply it by 4 to figure out 4 months. $42.95 times 4 equals $171.80. $171.80. Okie dokie. So what is the unit rate? Remember, to figure out the unit rate, you want to go to where the X is equal to 1, and then the Y will tell you the unit rate. So your unit rate here is $42.95 because it's $42.95 for 1 month. That's your unit rate when you're paying for one thing. Okay, so now we need to graph the points onto this coordinate plane. So I'm going to put all my X values over here on the X-axis, and I'm going to put my Y values over here on the Y-axis. I'm going to pause while I do that so you don't have to. Okay, so like I said, we were going to put the months over here on the X-axis, so I did that, 0 through 5 months. I just stopped at 5 because I don't think any more is going to fit on our graph. If I'm wrong, I can go back and add more numbers later. And then I labeled it months. Over here on the dollar side of things, there are different ways you could have done it. I decided to go by $25 increments, but if you wanted to go by $50 increments or $40 increments, maybe even 20, I'm not sure. That might not fit on the graph because remember, we need to get up to some pretty high numbers like 170, 180. So let's go ahead and put these points on the graph. Now 0, 0, that's pretty easy. Here we go. Next we have 1 and then $42.95. So 1, and we're going to have to kind of guess a little bit. $42.95 is kind of, let's see, 30 would be about here, 40 would be here. I'm going to just put it right there. We're guesstimating a little. We're making an educated guess. So for 2 months, it's $85.90. So let's go up past 50 and up past 75. It's going to be kind of right about here. For 3 months, we have $128.85. So 3 months is going to go all the way up to $125 and just a little bit higher. For 4 months, we have $171.80. So it's going to go past $150 and almost all the way to $175. And we'll just put our little dot right there. Okie dokie. And now I just need my little straight edge using my Life Touch Shutterfly coupon here that happened to be handy on my desk. And we're going to connect our dots. And you're done. So that's how you do the table and the graph and calculate the unit rate for the first problem. Let's go on to the second problem. All right, number 2. You go to 2 different movie theaters owned by different companies. You see the following special offers on popcorn. Theater number 1 has popcorn at $3.75 a pound. Theater 2 has popcorn at 2 pounds for $8.50. Okay, let's complete the table for each offer. Then we're going to graph each offer on the coordinate plane. All right, let's do it. So Theater 1, that's this one right here. It has $3.75 per pound. So that means per 1 pound. So we know that for 1 pound, we can just write our $3.75. So if it's $3.75 for 1 pound, how much is it for 2 pounds? We're going to do $3.75 times 2. And that gives us 7.5, which is the same thing as 7.50 or 750, like that. And now to figure out 3 pounds, what are we going to do? Let's take that $3.75 and multiply it by 3. And we're going to get $11.25. Okay, good. We're good on that side. Now let's do theater number 2. Here, I'll do it like that. So for theater number 2, as you can see, they have 2 pounds of popcorn for $8.50. Let's just go ahead and write that $8.50 under the 2 pound area because we know that's what it is. $8.50. All right, so if 2 pounds of popcorn cost $8.50, how much does 1 pound of popcorn cost? Let's divide it by 2 to find out. $8.50 divided by 2 gives us $4.25. All right, so now that we know how much 1 pound of popcorn costs, we can easily figure out how much 3 pounds costs by multiplying the $4.25 by 3. And we're going to get $12.75. Okay, so we have our tables all filled out. Yay. Let's go ahead and look at question B. The first offer unit rate. So that's theater 1. The unit rate, how much for 1 pound? That's $3.75. And what about the second offer? What about that unit rate? Got to look for the 1, and it looks like that's going to be $4.25. All right, so which is a better deal for the popcorn? Well, I'd rather pay $3.75 than $4.25 because you save 50 cents. So I'm going to say theater 1 is a better deal. And how do you know? How do you know? Because the unit rate or the price per pound is lower. So I'm just going to say lower unit rate. That's going to be a better deal for you. So we still have one step left on this problem. It is put it on a graph. So once again, our x values are the number of pounds over here in the left-hand column. So the number of pounds are going to go over here, and I'm just going to write lbs for pounds. And then on the y-axis is where we are going to have our price. And now it looks like we need to get up into the $12, $15 range. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What if we count by 2s? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. That'll work. So let's just do $2 increments here on our y-axis. 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and then 18. Okay, and I have them labeled. Here's money, here's pounds. So now we just need to complete the graph. I'm going to do blue for theater 1, and I'm going to do pink for theater 2. So theater 1, 1 pound is $3.75. So I'm going to start at 1, and I'm going to go past the 2. Halfway there would be the 3, right? And then another halfway from there to the 4 would be $3.50. So really getting pretty close to the 4 for $3.75. Now what about 2 pounds? $7.50. So let's go up to 6. Halfway to there is 7, and then another halfway there is $7.50. And then for 3 pounds is $11.25. So let's go to the 10, and then up to the 11, and just a little tiny bit past halfway for $11.25. Now we don't know what 4 pounds is. We haven't calculated it, but we'll just draw our line straight through, and it'll kind of give us an idea. Let's switch to pink and do theater number 2. So at theater number 2, 1 pound is going to be $4.25. So let's go just a little bit on the other side of the 4 here. 2 pounds is 850, so let's go up to 8 and then a little bit higher. And 3 pounds is going to be 1275, so up to the 12 and then a little bit higher there. Okay, let's draw our lines. So I'll connect my pink dots first since I already have my pink going here. It's going to look like this. And then we'll do our blue dots. Okay, get your straight edge and connect your line. Well, I almost hit them. I kind of missed. So take a little bit more time and make your line better than my line, okay? But this is how you do that first page, which is very, very much like what your assignment is going to be like. And then if you go to the second page of notes, it's going to look like this. So we've got some tables, which is great practice from all those tables we were doing a few days ago. It says find the slope from each table of values. So as you remember, when you're finding slope from a table, you need the change in y over the change in x. That little triangle there, it's called delta. It means change. So the change in y over the change in x. So what I'm going to do is take this number and subtract this number. So I'm thinking 9 minus 5, and that is going to equal 4, right? So 4 is going to be my top number because the change in y is the top number here. So you have 4. Now here we're going to do the same thing, 2 minus 0. And that's going to give us the bottom number. So 2 minus 0 equals what? It's going to be 2. So our slope is 4 over 2. Are we done? No, because we still need to simplify. So 4 over 2 simplifies to 2 over 1, which is the same thing as 2. And when you're giving your answer, don't give us this one. Make sure you give us either this one or this one, okay? So that it's fully simplified. All right, now I know that all my numbers are going to squish together, so I'm going to change colors to make it a little less confusing. What about over here? We need change in y over change in x. Now, last time we used these two numbers. What if we used different numbers? Would we still get the right answer? Yeah, you can. This time I'm going to take this number and subtract this number from it. So 17 minus 11 is going to give us 6. And 8 minus 9 is going to give us negative 1, right? Okay, so this is your top number. Let's do 6 over negative 1. So your slope is negative 6 over 1. You could also write it as this way. The negative can go either way. Or you could just write negative 6. All are totally correct, okay? Let's do number 6. Now I'll go back to blue now. So looking at this one, let's go back to doing this number minus that number. So 12 minus the 6 is going to be 6. And 9 minus 10, well, that's going to be negative 1 again. So we're going to write this number on top, 6 over negative 1. Whoops, negative goes there. Same thing as negative 6 over 1. Or you could just put the negative way out in front. That's totally correct too. Or you could just say negative 6. So let's do an experiment really quick. I'm going to change pen color. What if we did the bottom number and subtract the top number? Let's figure this out. 18 minus 6, what's that going to give us? 12. And then 8 minus 10, what does that give us? Negative 2. So I'm going to go up here and write this time. So it would give us 12 over negative 2, which we would need to simplify, right? So let's divide them both by 2 and we would get 6 over negative 1. Oh, well now that's looking kind of familiar because it's the same thing we got here, isn't it? So I'm just showing you if you could choose numbers that are further apart and subtract them also, and they would still give you the right number, the right answer for the slope. Now, should you do that? Well, probably not, because you are guaranteed you're going to have to simplify more if you do it that way. It's just kind of fun to see that it still works. But no, it's probably a better idea to use these adjacent numbers just so that you don't have to simplify quite as much. Okay, let's look at number 7. Number 7 is a bit more like what we were doing on the first page. Let's read it. Bob has been making friends at his new school. For every friend he makes, he has 2 new phone numbers to remember. So here's our little table. This time our table is going a different way. We have it kind of stretching left to right instead of up and down. For the number of friends, he has 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. And then the number of phone numbers he has to remember, as you can see, That's always 2 times the number of friends. So like 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 times 2 is 12, and 9 times 2 is 18. So let's figure out how many phone numbers he's going to have to remember for 12 friends. If each friend has 2 phone numbers, 12 times 2 is going to give us 24. And then for 15 friends, when you multiply that by 2, you're going to get 30. And when he gets up to 18 friends and each of them has 2 phone numbers, that's going to be 36. Okay, so it says to graph the situation on the set of axes below, being sure to include points, label the axes, and show the value on the axes. And then after we do that, we're going to figure out our rate of change or our slope. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for a second while I make my labels and everything. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and label my axes so that when you count one box, it's just 1. So in other words, 5 friends, 10 friends, 15 friends, 20 friends, like that, because I didn't want to write all those teeny tiny numbers. And then I did the same thing for the phone numbers. One box is just going to equal 1. You might decide to do your graph differently, but if you do, be careful when you're calculating slope. For example, if a box this way equals 1 and a box this way equals 2, you're going to have to think about that when you're doing slope. Or you could just calculate the slope from the table. That should work for you every time. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Let's first of all check. It says to be sure to include points, label axes, and to show the value on the axes. Okay, so I've labeled my axes. That's the friends and the phone numbers. Showing the value on the axes, that's my 5, 10, 15, 20 on both of these. But I don't have my points yet, so let's go ahead and put some points on there. So number of friends down here. 0 friends means 0 phone numbers. That's the easy one. 3 friends means 6 phone numbers. Let's put that on our graph. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 for my friends and up to 6 for my phone numbers. Okay, now let's do 6 friends. So 6 friends. Here's my 5. One more is going to be 6. And we're going to need to remember 12 phone numbers now. So all the way up to 10 and then 2 more for 12. Now let's do 9. So 9 is going to be right here before the 10, and I need to go up to the 18. So here's the 15, 16, 17, 18. And next is going to be 12. So 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to go all the way up to 24. So bloop, bloop, bloop. Here's 20. Oh, looks like that one's off the graph. So I'm just going to stop graphing at this point, and I'm going to go ahead and connect my dots. See if I can get them a little bit better than I did last time. And there we go. Not too bad. So there's our graph. Now it is going to ask us for the rate of change. There are 2 ways you can do it. You can do your nice little points that you made on the graph if they're exact. If they're approximate, I wouldn't do it this way. But if they're exact, the way ours are here, you can do the rate of change from here. So let's figure it out. It's the rise over the run. So let me draw my nice little step. Okay, so how far did we go up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is going to go on top. And how far did we go over? 1, 2, 3 over. So 6 over 3, that can simplify to 2 over 1 or just 2. Either one of these are totally correct answers. But let me show you, just in case you did your labels differently and so you don't have exact dots, you could definitely calculate your slope from the table by doing 6 minus 3, which equals 3, and 12 minus 6, which equals 6. And then you're going to put, remember, the change in y over the change in x, so 6 over 3, which is going to simplify to 2 over 1. So either way you want to do it, totally fine. Let's do C. How many numbers will Bob memorize if he makes 12 friends? Well, let's go up here to our little chart. He made 12 friends, and that meant 24 numbers. So let's write 24. Okay, part D, this is our last one. How many numbers will Bob memorize if he makes 15 friends? Okay, let's go back up here to number of friends. Look at 15. How many phone numbers does he need to memorize? That's a lot of phone numbers. 30. Maybe Bob will figure out his speed dial and not have to memorize quite so many numbers. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let us know if you have any questions. Bye!